Fireball is mystery. From the Oklahoma City Times, July 9th, 1971. Reports of a blazing object plunging from the sky and exploding just before it hit the ground Thursday night set off a search in an area southeast of Yale, which was continuing today. Police Chief Noel Galloway said at least 5 reports came in from persons who said they saw the ball of fire descending, and Yale Night Patrolman Floyd Heil also reported seeing it. All of them said it was burning and looked like a small plane, Mrs. Tommy Thompson, a resident of the area, said. It appeared that blazing pieces, maybe like pieces of the wings, fell off as it came down. There was a lot of white smoke, and then it exploded just before it seemed to hit the ground. Highway patrol units, Payne County Sheriff's officers, units from the Yale and Oilton Police Departments, and area farmers searched the area but failed to find any wreckage by noon today. An airplane from Cushing flew over the heavily wooded area near the Cimarron River in the northeastern corner of the county. The pilot reported he could not spot any signs of wreckage or a crash in his aerial search. The first report of it came from Mr. and Mrs. A.J. Spears, who live 2 miles east and 2 south of town, a Yale officer said. That was about 10:15 last night. Then Gary Franklin reported seeing it a while later. Officers said other reports came in along with that of Patrolman Heil. They said it looked like a burning plane, but I guess it could have been a meteor. We just don't know yet, the police spokesman said. Several are still out looking in the woods for some sign of it. Officials at the flight service station of the Federal Aviation Administration in Oklahoma City said they had received no reports of a missing plane. They also said they had not heard of the sighting at Yale. Flying objects seen in county. From the Alva Weekly Record, September 18th, 1969. Are there unidentified flying objects over Oklahoma? One Woods County resident apparently thinks so. Richard Heaton was plowing when he chanced to glance up and saw a light moving in the southwest sky. A formation of 3 spaceships was tailing. There was another light coming from the west. All of the lights and spaceships were visible between 9:10 p.m. and 10 p.m. Sunday. According to reports, the lights and the spaceships moved a little ways, stopped, and then repeated the procedure. It was fairly dark at this time, and Heaton was unable to determine how high the objects were flying. Weather probes sent up from a New Mexico base Friday and Saturday nights were reported seen by many state residents, but it is not known if the objects seen by Heaton were tied in with the weather tests. Mystery sky fire in area. From the Daily Freelance, July 16th, 1971. If you saw a strange object in the sky last night, you were not alone. Several sightings of a brilliant light in the sky have been reported by Henrietta residents over the city last night. The light was seen around 9 p.m. heading east. One man, who said he lives 6 miles east of Henrietta near Wildcat Junction, reported a light like a falling star leaving a trail behind it. As it got directly east of me, it appeared to break into 2 pieces, and one piece fell at about a 30 to 40 degree angle. He reported that the object seemed to fall somewhere between Chicada and Muskogee. Joe Marshall of the Henrietta Police Department also reported sighting the object. He said he first thought it was a falling star. Marshall said it resembled objects he had seen in California, which were reported to be parts of missiles re-entering the Earth's atmosphere from space. Others reported that the object burned up before it reached the ground. Ernie Jackson, who also witnessed the descent of the object, said it was at least as big as a car and was traveling at a high rate of speed. He said it shone with a bright light and had a tail behind it. Jackson said that the object burned up with a brilliant flash of light while it was still high overhead. One witness said it first attracted his attention because of the brightness and the fact that stars wouldn't be visible at that time since it was still pretty light outside. Lieutenant Sam Williamson of the Oklahoma Highway Patrol said he had no reports of any object in the sky from any of the patrolmen. If they'd seen anything, they would have reported it to me, he said. Perry reports UFO sightings. From the Ponca City News, March 13, 1969. 2, or possibly the same one, unidentified flying objects were reported in the area of the Perry Lanes bowling alley here Monday night. The first sighting was reported about 8:30 p.m. by Johnny Robbins and Larry Wheeler, Perry. It, or another UFO, was seen in the same area about an hour later. Police Chief Zeke Walker and other officers went immediately to the area, and they also saw something below the clouds. According to the report, no motor noise could be heard coming from the slow-moving objects. Walker described the UFOs as having a red rotating light similar to those on police cars. Billings area residents reported UFOs in that area March 4th. Several persons apparently saw the objects, which have not yet been explained in both areas. UFO sighted in city area. From the Daily Democrat, January 5th, 1973. At least 2 sightings were made of an unidentified flying object inside McAllister city limits Thursday night, but the sightings were not confirmed by Federal Aviation Agency officials here. According to city police, 2 officers were dispatched to the area near Peterborough Junior High School. When they arrived, several youths were watching what appeared to be a UFO in the sky. One policeman said the youths, how many is not known, watched the object for approximately 20 minutes before the officers arrived. The officers then observed the sight for about 5 minutes. No explanation has been received on what the object might have been, except from the FAA. A spokesman said they shine a light in the clouds periodically to check the ceiling, and this might have been what the people saw. A mail plane from Poteau arrived in McAllister only a short time after the sighting was made, and he reported seeing nothing in that area. After being told the object was observed for about 25 minutes, the FAA spokesman said the light wouldn't have been on that long. According to him, the flight service station employees have been told all reports of UFOs should be made to the nearest military installation, but did not know if the Naval Ammunition Depot was equipped for such things. He said he thought the Air Force was still handling reports of UFOs, and added this was the first such sighting the flight service station had received in several years. Unidentified flying object seen Friday night over local airport. From the Watauga Republican, March 13th, 1969. Several persons were reported to have seen a mysterious, unidentified flying object hovering for 5 minutes motionless over the Watauga City Airport Friday night about 8:30 p.m. Milton Banta, Watauga printer, said he and his neighbor Gary Edsall took time to lay pictures of the big round light with long rays of light extending out from the object. These pictures are being processed for possible identification. Banta said others he knew of who saw it were city policemen Keith Kelly and James Winters. Also Bub Rice, Leslie Rice, and Dennis Jackson. Two-way radio reception or transmitting was cut supposedly by the presence of the light 2 times bigger than the evening star, Banta said. Mystery light is reported in Promenade area today. From the Miami News Record, September 19th, 1972. A brilliant blue-white light of undetermined origin was sighted over the Devil's Promenade area earlier today by Mr. and Mrs. George McWaters, who live on a farm near the Spring River Indian Baptist Church. George McWaters told the News Record this morning that he awoke about 5:30 or 6 a.m. and was in the kitchen of his home when he first saw the light. It seemed to be coming over the river, and it was bright blue-white. At first I thought it might be just some sort of reflection off the river, and I went to another room to drink a cup of coffee. When I came back to the kitchen, though, I saw it had moved to the east and was getting brighter. McWaters said he watched the light for several minutes as it seemed to move slowly to the east, getting brighter all the time. Then he woke up his wife to come look at the light. It moved just so far and then seemed to be hanging there not too far above treetop level, he said. It was the oddest color, sort of a bluish green and white, and too bright to look directly at it for very long. Both McWaters and his wife stated they saw the light clearly, even though the sun was coming up and there were no stars visible in the sky. Mrs. McWaters said that the light appeared bigger than any star I've ever seen and brighter. They watched the light until it vanished about 7 a.m. Mrs. McWaters said that before the light vanished, two more lights, not as bright, but of the same odd blue-white color, appeared to the south of the original light. We could see all three together, then the two smaller ones vanished. McWaters stated that the bright light seemed to get brighter as it moved away. It seemed to be hanging there about 6 to 10 miles away, and it got very bright before it disappeared. A check with the Flight Services office at the Joplin Airport this morning showed that no weather balloons were launched from there today, and there were no reports either at the Joplin or Miami airports of aircraft flying in that area this morning. Bright light brings about a feeling that UFOs are here. From the Harper Company Journal, June 28, 1973. The sight raised some goose pimples, and the Junior Huckabee family found it difficult to believe what was being seen. That was early Sunday morning. The saga began when J.C. Huckabee was returning to the Huckabee farm southeast of Buffalo after attending a preview movie in Buffalo. As he neared the Terry Carter Dairy, he noticed a bright light and thought he was seeing a falling star. When the light did not lessen and the star failed to fall, J.C. got a little upset. The light apparently followed him home, speeding up when he did and turning when he turned, and keeping over his vehicle. As the pickup turned up the driveway, the light did too, then hovered just over a granary. J.C., too upset to keep still, awoke his parents, and they in turn awoke another son, Leroy Huckabee, and wife of Oklahoma City, who were spending the weekend there. They all watched the light for more than an hour, then decided to go back to bed. Unable to stand the suspense, the Huckabees got up an hour later to find the light still there, only slightly to the south. A red light atop the thing was plainly visible. Mrs. Huckabee was reluctant to tell about the experience, afraid folks might think she was dreaming. Then the family went to Oklahoma City for a funeral, and while there they talked with a cousin, Mrs. Harry Stong of Purcell. Mrs. Stong had a story of her own. She had seen a similar UFO, but on a different night last week. The Huckabees may have taken tales of UFOs with a grain of salt, but not anymore. They think seeing is believing. UFO sighted. From the Perkins Journal, June 7, 1973. Driving the road from Tulsa to Stillwater is harrowing enough without having to worry about flying saucers or alien spacecraft. But last week, Roger Peacock, a graduate student in counseling at Oklahoma State University, saw what he believes is an unidentified flying object, UFO, while on his way back to Stillwater from Tulsa. I had just come off the end of the Keystone Dam when I saw it, Peacock said, laying on the concrete shoulder of the highway. Peacock said he was going about 50 miles per hour when he saw it and started to slow down. As he neared the UFO, it seemed to glow brighter, he said. It was cylindrical in shape, about 7 feet long and rounded off at the edges, he said. It gave off a bright red fluorescent light which seemed to pulse. Peacock said he drove by the object twice, and the third time found the object had disappeared. Sources have said the UFO may be caused by a laser beam used by Keystone Lake personnel to take lake measurements. I don't think it was an illusion because I observed it from several different angles, Peacock said. Sooner couple reports sideshow by UFO on rural road. From the Lawton Morning Press, October 19, 1973. A Payne County couple says a large, flashing, humming object hovered within 250 feet of their auto on a rural road near Manford early Tuesday and gave them a 7-minute sideshow they're not likely to forget. It was just floating through the air, said Bill Hatchett. My wife can describe it better. I was too damn scared. It really gave us a weird feeling of being in a different place, Mrs. Hatchett said. It was like there was nothing you could do to defend yourself. The Hatchetts were pretty shook up, said Manford Patrolman J.D. Paulus, whom they told of the phenomenon. The officer said an unidentified trucker reported the same thing a few minutes later. I called the Oklahoma Highway Patrol, and they said they would investigate, Paulus said. That was the last I heard of it. He said there were a lot of helicopters in that area, Mrs. Hatchett said Thursday. I told him I had just come from Alaska, where there were a lot of helicopters, and that was no helicopter. Mrs. Hatchett said the object hummed in 2 tones, one low and steady, the other high and intermittent. And it had numerous flashing lights, but their blinking seemed to fit no pattern. It happened, Mrs. Hatchett said, about 4 miles from Keystone Dam, east of Tulsa on Coyote Trail, an extension of Tulsa's 41st Street. I was turned toward Bill, who was driving, and saw this incredibly bright light off to the left and about a half-mile ahead of us, she said. There are a lot of pole lights in the area, but this was too high and too bright to be a pole light. As we got closer, we could see it was about 400 or 500 feet above the ground. It was unbelievably white, huge, and stationary. When I saw it, I told him to slow down and stop the car, but he wouldn't. I kept nagging, and he slowed down and turned out the lights to see better, but kept moving. Then he turned the lights on and off again, and the thing was still stationary. When the lights were turned back on, it seemed to move at about a 45-degree angle toward the car. About this time, Mrs. Hatchett said, I opened the door and insisted he stop right there. I got out of the car and ran around to the driver's side. Bill wouldn't get out, and it was still moving toward us. He about came unglued. The object moved within 200 or 250 feet of their auto and stopped, Mrs. Hatchett said. I got the feeling they could make it appear to be anything by using the lights. The lights were the most amazing thing. Bill said it was not as large as an airplane, and I say it was bigger. The object was brightest in front, she said, with a series of white stripes that appeared curved. Along the back side near us, there were red lights that appeared to be part of a different type of lighting system, she recalled. There were also forked towers towards the back, but not near the rear end. The 4 red lights did not appear to be supported by anything. Everything was deceptive as far as shape, color, or construction. It stayed alongside us for quite a while, she recalled, then moved slowly in altitude, and I got back in the car and we started to move on. As we moved on, it appeared to change its angle toward us so we couldn't get a good look at it in the back. Then, all of a sudden, it appeared to have moved toward the lights of Tulsa. UFO in pasture, a moving experience. Cows dry up. From the Oklahoma City Times, February 18, 1974. A bewildered Craig County dairyman told authorities today that a mysterious flashing object the size of a bedroom dipped out of the sky and scared his cows so bad they wouldn't give any milk. Clay Knight, who has a dairy farm near Bowling Springs, said that furthermore, his herd dog became so frightened that he ran to the house yelping and wouldn't come out again. Knight said the unidentified flying object appeared to be taking off from his pasture when he first spotted it at about 4:30 a.m., officials said. He said it appeared to land and take off again 2 other times. I never saw a man that was so anxious to prove what he said he had seen. It was absolutely fascinating, said Sheriff's Deputy Joe Davenport, who investigated the incident. I don't have any reason not to believe him, he said. He's a college graduate and obviously a man of high intelligence, and he definitely saw something. Davenport said Knight described the mysterious object as having flashing red or orange lights and being as big as a bedroom. He said it was making a high-pitched noise, real shrill, the deputy said. It was a sort of whistling sound, he said. Davenport said Knight was out getting his dairy herd for early morning milking when the object appeared. It scattered his cattle, and he said it scared them so bad they wouldn't give a drop of milk, the officer said. His herd dog got so scared from the flashing lights and noise that he took off to the house or garage or somewhere, and he never could get him to come out again. Davenport said Knight described the object as being silver-colored and shiny. He said he first saw it when it was raising straight up out of the pasture, the deputy said. He said it took off and went a little ways and appeared to land again. He said then it took off and went up for a ways and landed again. The last time it just went straight up in the air and disappeared, Davenport said. The Oklahoma Highway Patrol dispatcher at Veneta said Knight reported the incident to the district office there first. The man was scared or shook enough that you could tell he was startled by whatever it was, the dispatcher said. It wasn't any prank or fake call. He was really sincere about it and he was scared. We walked around for about a half-mile more out there. He was so anxious for us to find some sign of where it had been, Davenport said. It was so dark we couldn't tell anything for sure, but he'll be looking some more because he really wants to prove it to somebody. Three UFOs are sighted at Stillwater. From the Pawhuska Daily Journal, November 6, 1973. 3 unidentified flying objects were reported Monday night over Lake Carl Blackwell by several persons, including a staff member of the Oklahoma State University Daily O'Collegian. Mark Ward, the campus newspaper writer, said he got a good view of one of the objects with high-powered binoculars. He said it had a base and red and blue lights around the base. He said the first of the 3 flashed bluish-red lights and would alternately hover and scoop back and forth across the lake, about 7 miles west of Stillwater. When some car lights approached, he said, it shot out like a rocket. There was another one sighted in a south-southeast direction, and it was about 9,000 feet up, Ward said. 5 or 6 residents were out in the yard looking at it. They said they had seen it before. The third one we saw was hovering just above the tree line, he said. UFO sighted skipping over Comanche Temple. From the Sunday Constitution, October 28, 1973. A UFO skipped over sections of southwest Oklahoma last night, at least some said so. I was here at the courthouse and came in right after 8 p.m. and saw the lights. It was an orange light, very low in the sky, right southwest of Comanche, said Warren McGee, Stevens County Deputy Sheriff. McGee said it was a bright orange light and sent rays penetrating downward. The Federal Aviation Administration control tower at Lawton, however, said nothing showed on a radar check. Carl Settle, air traffic controller at Lawton Municipal Airport, said approach control at Fort Still was looking at their radar and they didn't have anything either. However, Southwest Oklahoma officials felt the situation merited some attention. District 4 Highway Patrol Headquarters dispatched units to the Comanche Temple area, then requested a helicopter from Fort Sill. A patrol dispatcher said he had been told a training mission would be flown from Fort Sill to the area. Stevens County Sheriff's deputies also were dispatched to the scene of a reported landing of some strange, unidentified light. The sheriff's vehicles and highway patrol units closed in about 10 p.m. on a multicolored light that seemed steady and possibly on the ground south of Temple. A patrol representative said later, however, that units there had determined they had been looking at an air traffic control beacon from Shepherd Air Force Base, Wichita Falls, Texas, on the horizon. Haze and dust in the air distorted the lights, the representative said. He said patrol units were actually dispatched to the area not to chase unidentified lights, but to check the possibility of a downed plane. The latest report Sunday was at 11 p.m. McGee said a sheriff's cruiser and Stevens County District Attorney's office car had spotted a trio of bright lights staggered like a stairway near Temple. The unit said the lights were popping on and off, but described no color. FAA personnel at Lawton Municipal Airport said there had been a radar target sighted in the Comanche area about the time of the original UFO sighting, but the blip had a transformer abroad which indicated it was an airplane. Stevens County officials seem more certain, however, that what they had spotted was not a low-flying aircraft or a control beacon on the horizon. Duncan police spotted a pair of lights that supposedly alternated from blue and white to red. McGee said police told him one was spotted just east and another just west of the city. McGee said that according to the police reports, both lights were at very high altitudes. Both Highway Patrol and Stevens County officials said reports originated from someone in Comanche. It sounds like some kid reported a low-flying aircraft, a patrol representative said. Carl Settle at the Lawson Airport Tower said that after a call from the Highway Patrol about the original sighting, he spotted an odd light in the direction of Comanche, but when he looked through binoculars, he decided it was only a star. Police chase light. UFO makes return visit. From the Oklahoma City Times, October 31st, 1973. Two Broken Arrow policemen reported following an elusive amber-colored light over the suburb of Tulsa early today, the second day in a row for unidentified flying objects in the sky in northeast Oklahoma. Officer J.D. Phelps answered a phone call from a resident who reported a strange light was in the sky. Phelps saw it and followed the light for several miles. He was joined by Police Sergeant Lloyd Kingenberg, who also watched the light. Phelps, who watched it for about 15 minutes, said he tried to pick it up with his spotlight, but the object was apparently too high for a good look. Phelps said the object appeared flat across the front and rounded at the rear. He said the light, which appeared to be about 1,500 feet from the ground, remained still at times, then finally left the area, moving to the east. Several calls Tuesday reported a mysterious light visible across an area of about 75 miles in extreme northeast Oklahoma. Most of the calls were from Grove and Jay near the Kansas-Oklahoma state line. Flying saucer startles citizens of Weatherford. From the Altus Times Democrat, December 2nd, 1973. Don't believe in flying saucers? Daryl Nichols hadn't thought about unidentified flying objects one way or the other until, he said, he drove to within 30 feet of a silent, strange craft festooned with red, white, and blue lights. Nichols, 19, a carpenter on his way to a church affair Thursday night, gave a detailed report to the Weatherford police of the weird incident. His report started a landslide of sighting reports from people living north of Weatherford. Police dispatcher Jimmy King said he received more than 35 telephone calls and about a dozen people came into the station to report sightings of UFOs. Some of the people who called on the phone sounded real scared, King said. Oklahomans in all walks of life, ministers, reporters, farmers, have given officials a variety of reports of such unknown crafts in recent weeks. Nichols told police it was about 7:30 p.m. when he saw what he first thought was a helicopter following Deer Creek, about 2 miles east of Weatherford. As Nichols neared a bridge, he said, he noticed the craft had more lights than a helicopter. The top part of the thing was covered with about 30 flashing red, white, and blue lights like those on top of ambulances and police cars, he said. Still thinking the strange lights belonged to some kind of known aircraft, Nichols drove on toward the bridge. As he neared it, the craft hovered about 30 feet to one side and above the crossing. He drove slowly across the bridge to about 30 feet from the object and stopped, shut off his engine, but could hear no sound. I looked at it for 3 minutes, I guess. A bright light came on from the side of the object and shone up and down the creek, he said. I took off north down the road away from it, he said. Nichols gave a detailed description of a craft which made no noise, did not seem to take note of his car, had about 30 flashing white, red, and blue lights, was 16 to 20 feet wide, 9 or 10 feet tall, and had several pads located on the bottom. He said it appeared to have a silver dome and a darker band on the bottom third of the craft. Nichols lives with his parents, Mr. and Mrs. C.E. Nichols, about 3 miles south of Weatherford in Custer County. Dispatcher King sent a teletype to authorities about the sighting, and within a few minutes received a reply from Blackwell in far northern Oklahoma that one of their police officers had seen an identical object from about 200 feet away. The Weatherford Police switchboard began buzzing a few minutes later, and several area law enforcement officials also reported seeing strange moving lights in the sky. Most of the reports Thursday had one thing in common. The sightings were near the same creek as the Nichols sighting and were spaced as if the UFO were continuing northwest. Tulsa residents, police, observe hovering UFO. From the Lawton Constitution, November 2nd, 1973. Eastern Oklahomans had another unidentified flying object report to ponder today. Several residents of South Tulsa called police to report seeing a brightly lighted object in the western sky Thursday night. Police officers viewed the object through binoculars for about 5 minutes. Some observers said it hovered in the sky for about 20 minutes before disappearing behind a row of trees. A Muskogee newsman, an Arkansas newspaper editor, and a Tulsa News photographer reported seeing a bright object in the sky in eastern Oklahoma Wednesday night. Tulsa Daily World photographer Jim Tinkler set up his 35mm camera on a tripod Thursday night, aimed his telephoto lens at the object, and held the shutter open for 10 seconds. The result was a bright object in the photograph. A Riverside Airport spokesman said the object was spotted entering the airport landing pattern about 7:30 p.m. The pilot of a light aircraft practicing landings at Riverside was asked to identify the UFO because the air traffic control specialist couldn't get it to answer by radio. The pilot started chasing the object and radioed back that it was apparently a military helicopter headed in a southwesterly to westerly direction toward the Sapulpa area. But spokesmen for the only military helicopter bases in Oklahoma, in Norman and Fort Sill, said none of their copters were in the Tulsa area of eastern Oklahoma Thursday night. They said also that helicopters have high-intensity landing lights mounted on the front and rear of the fuselage, but they added that if the object was a helicopter, a bright red rotating beacon on top of the chopper would have been seen, as well as a red flashing light on the right side and a green flashing light on the left side. Observers did not spot the colored lights, although one person said the bright object seemed to sparkle with a tinge of red in it momentarily. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. What state would you like to see me cover next? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to keep up with everything I post, and it really helps me with the algorithm. If you want to watch more videos like this one, you can click on the top right corner pop-up for a full playlist. You can also send me your very own alien or UFO sightings, paranormal stories, and any other creepy stories in the comments, or post on my subreddit r/ihaveaspookystory. And lastly, you can send them to my story submission Gmail, pinkpossiblystories@gmail.com. Maybe your story will be in a future video. Until next time, good night, sleep tight, and don't let the shadows bite.